the ingredients we need then. So for our batter, I'm just going to use some spring water, some flour, and some salt and pepper. I'm just going to season the flour and the salt and pepper. I'm just going to keep it really, really simple. I want it to be exactly like a chip shop would be. You could add, you know, lemon zest. You could use like even a 7-Up for the batter, or a beer batter if you like. But that's not what my local chip shop does, and that's not what I'm going to do. So, onion for the onion rings. Nice big one, nice big Spanish onion. I'm going to get some nice rings out of that. And then some nice fresh cod that I got from Mary's fish shop here in Galway. It's literally 2 kilometers up the road, 2 in the bed even. Just going to take the skin off that, and then I'm going to portion it up. Some nice Irish rooster potatoes. And that's pretty much it, folks. I will make a little bit of a garlic mayonnaise as well as a dip to go with it. And so now I'm just going to start prepping my veg. So to start, I just cut my Spanish onion, nice big rings. Some of them are doubled up, as you can see. They'll just hold their shape a little bit better. Next then, we're going to move on to our fish. So as you can see, I've taken the skin off the fillet. I've made 2 equal sized fillets, cut them diagonally down, and then 1 small size just for 1 children, so they can have it. So that was 400 grams of cod there. That's prepped and ready to go. Next is the potatoes. So we're just going to take 5 or 6 good sized rooster potatoes. So once they're peeled, then just chop them down. So we've chopped them down into chips, and as you can see, they're all kind of an even size. And what we're going to do next is we're going to par cook them in some water. Now you can par cook them in the oil if you want to, but this is just an easier, safer way. And I also find that the chips come out a little bit fluffier once you cook them in oil after you've done the water trick. So we're going to cook them for about 8 to 10 minutes. Just want them a little bit of giving them, not too soft. You want them to still hold their shape. Okay, so while those chips are on, we're going to start getting the batter ready. So I have a cup of each of plain flour in each of those. One is going to be for my batter, so I'm just going to add almost a cup of the spring soda water into there. I'm going to season it with some salt, a little bit of pepper. I'm also going to season this flour with salt, a little bit of pepper, and this is going to be our coating before it goes into the actual batter. So I've just less than a cup of soda water in here along with salt and pepper. So I just put about a half teaspoon of the pepper in and about 2 teaspoons of salt in this one. You can see the consistency there. It's nice and thick. I'm going to have it nice and thick for the onion rings first of all, because I really wanted to stick there. So first, onion rings into the flour, give them a good coat, and now just simply into the batter. Just give them a nice coating, make sure they're completely engulfed in that batter. Should stick to it nice and thickly. Next, into our oil. Our oil is heated to about 175, so in we go. So I'm just going to put them in 2 at a time. I don't want them to stick together, I want to keep a nice shape. What you can also do with these, you can make them ahead of time, and then just basically later when you're ready to fry them off again, you're just going to bring them back up. They'll be already nice and crispy. As long as you just don't overcook them the first time, they'll be absolutely fine. So that's all our onion rings there, ready to finish off later. The reason I'm doing them in batches because I only have a small deep fat fryer, so we've got to work ahead of ourselves. So we'll have the onion rings ready to go. Next we're going to get our fish ready to go. So my fish is in the flour now, in the seasoned flour. And then I'm going to get it into the batter. Now I've only got a little bit of batter left, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the excess flour from here, add a little bit more soda water, another pinch of salt, and that'll be our batter complete. Plus it means that we're not wasting any flour also. So just before I start frying off the fish, I've got my chips and they're just out of the water now. So what I did was I literally brought the water to boil and let them sit there for about 10 or 12 minutes, and that was it. Now they're perfectly at the point that you want them, just par cooked. You're going to finish them in the fryer. You often notice that when you try to do chips, anyone without really a lot of cooking experience will try to do chips. They'll just chip them up and put them straight to a fryer or something like that, and then you end up kind of burning the outside just to cook the inside, because otherwise you won't be able to cook them. This way is going to ensure that you don't do that, they'll be already par cooked. So when you get into the fryer, all you're really doing is you're sealing them off and giving them a really nice crispy colour on the outside. Okay, so back to the fish. So this batter for the fish is a little bit lighter than the one for the onion rings. So just add a little bit more liquid because I wanted the batter on the fish to be a little bit lighter also. So into the batter goes the fish. Give it a good coat and then into the fryer. So I've turned the temp down to about 165 on this. I'm just going to let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. All I'm going to do is seal it, make the batter nice and crispy, and then we're going to finish off a little bit later just before serving. So there we have our fish sealed off nicely for later. It's not too dark as you can see. So we'll finish that off a little bit later, just after we get the chips done. So now we're going to do our chips, and we're just going to bring them a little bit along further. So we're just going to get a nice colour on them. And again, like the fish, like the onion rings, we'll finish that off nearly all together when we're ready for service. So I'm just going to do them a small batch at a time. I don't want to overfill the basket because you won't get an even cook on the fries then. So that's as far as I want to bring those chips at the moment. They're still quite opaque, but I'm going to finish them off to a nice golden colour a little bit later. So now we have our fish ready, and our chips, and our onion rings. And we're going to cook them in that order. So the fish will go first. Fish will take about 6 to 8 minutes to finish. Chips will only take about 3 or 4 minutes. And then onion rings will take about 2 minutes basically. Fish, of course, will hold its heat a lot better than the onion rings would. So that's why we go in that order. So whatever takes the longest, second longest, third longest. Now, just going to make a little bit of a homemade garlic mayo, and then we're ready to go. So for your garlic mayo, this is all you need. It's real simple. I'm going to use about 5 tablespoons of light mayonnaise. I'm going to use 2 cloves of garlic. Use 1 clove if you don't really like garlic too much. I like it to be strong. Got my garlic crusher here. That's going to crush the garlic for me, get it into the mayo. If you don't have a garlic crusher, simply get some garlic puree from a tube. That's absolutely fine, no problem. Then I'm going to put a small pinch of mixed herbs in there also. That's it. This will cost you about 15 to 20 cents, as opposed when you buy that from a takeaway, they're charging you €1.50 for that. If you're buying a container of that from the supermarket, it's 3 to 4 euros. So you're saving yourself a lot of money, and it's real simple. So 5 tablespoons in, 1/4 teaspoon of the mixed herb, add the garlic and give it a quick mix. That's your garlic mayonnaise done. So if you want to just experiment with the garlic, maybe just get a half clove in first with that amount of mayonnaise. See if it's strong enough for you. If it's not strong, add a little bit more. If you found that you have too much garlic in there, then you can dilute it a bit by adding some more mayonnaise. So first we're going to cook the fish for 5 minutes. So that's it, done nice and crispy. I'm just going to get it onto a tray and just keep it warm in the oven while we're cooking everything else. Next we get the chips in. We'll cook these for about 4 or 5 minutes. So that's our chips done. And we're just going to leave them on the tray in beside the fish in the oven while we wait and do the onion rings. So while you have your fish and chips like this, get some salt and vinegar on them. And then to make it taste authentically like a takeaway, that flavour that you get is not crisp. What it is a little bit soggy, and it's not from grease or anything like that. It's from the condensation from the bag that you get it in. So if you just steam it a little bit, just get your parchment over it, let it sit there for a little while. I'll leave it sit there for 5 or 10 minutes. Just get that flavour, let it sit in there. If you'd rather yours crispy, take it off. Okay, I do that before I get my onion rings on, and then that's it. So now we're just going to finish off plating up. And there you have it, folks. Your fish and chip shop takeaway. Crunchy onion rings, garlic mayo. Better than the real thing.